Welcome listeners to this special edition of our podcast. Today, we'll be delving into the recent football match between Singapore and Nepal that left many Singaporean fans stunned and disappointed. On March 21st, Singapore Lions suffered a surprising 1-0 defeat to Nepal, marking their first loss against the South Asian nation in 4 meetings. Join us as we talk about it and hear from, us, the diehard fans on what went wrong and where the team goes from here. So without further ado, let's just dive straight into it, guys.
Majulah
Think
Singapore.
about this.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that in.
Oh dear.
Well, actually, it's Majulah Singapore. Well done.
Okay,
Yeah.
we lost 1-0. Okay, first off, let's start by congratulating the Nepalese team. They did their best and they actually performed very well. Even though actually Singaporean team had a lot of chances, but the Nepalese team actually took full advantage of the chances that they had and ended up with a win. And we were talking about the atmosphere also that was there at the stadium. Pio, what do you say it was like?
Firstly, my friend said, who happened to be there as well. He was seated at the away end as well because he's a Nepali. He was watching the match. He said the away end is like really at one corner of the game, and he said that they were far away from the pitch, but there was plenty of noise coming from that one end. And he was really enjoying himself. And he did say, however, that Singapore was really dominating the match. They had a lot of chances, but their keeper saved them a lot, lah. The Nepalese keeper,
Hmm.
and they were fitter. The Nepalese were fitter, the team, and they started pressuring them from the get go, right from kickoff.
Hmm.
And Singapore couldn't cope with that pressure. Apparently,
Hmm.
that's his
I mean,
assessment of the match, lah. Yep.
we're not really surprised that they're fitter, right? I mean, we've gone through national service and we've had those people. We've seen them, the at least the Gurkhas, the ones that work for the police force, and they're really, really, really fit. In fact, some of the players actually, there was one that is the son of uh, Gurkha police officer that was working for us. In fact, he grew up in Singapore. There's actually an interview with him, and he was glad. He was playing for the Lion City Sailors as well, and he's glad to actually be in Singapore, even though he hasn't been here for the past 5 years. But he's representing his country. Um, but he says how much he missed here, and I think his growing up in Singapore definitely led to him being playing football and actually getting good at it because of some of the comments that we've read. I mean, it's funny. I've read some of the comments that say that we've lost to a country that doesn't play football. The Nepalese aren't exactly known for big wide areas of open fields where they play football. And then, and then others were talking about in jest, I'm sure, about how we lost to Nepal, which is ranked 175 in the world. How many countries are there in the world, Pio?
Wow. I don't know. I always thought it's about 200.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
I,
means
I,
that
I
there's
just I,
30
I
more
just need
countries
to
for us
come
to
in and
lose to.
The geographer has to come in. Hey, Mr.
no,
Fonzie.
I'm not going to count countries, but I'm just saying, can you imagine this game was supposed to have been a morale booster. You know what I'm saying? You usually put a game, you all played football before. Your coach would like to play a team, two kinds of teams. Lah. One is where you get a morale boosting for a team, and the other one that actually really prepares you for the tournament. So this team being 175th was supposed to come to Singapore, playing at home in the Lion City. We were supposed to roar with our fans there, getting all our football juice up and running with probably, hoping a 4 or 5-0 victory and all running up to next Tuesday's game against Hong Kong, the Asian Cup opener qualifier. And then guess what happened? Instead of being a morale boosting game, it worked the opposite way. We lost 1-0.
It was
Now
a
what
So
happens to
winning
next?
game lah, just not for us lah.
And guess what happens next week then? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
all this thing that where you are playing a slightly weaker team for you to show what you can do, you know. And what happens? The 5,000 fans that were there, that journeyed all the way on at night at 8 o'clock, to witness that we couldn't even score a goal against Nepal, a team 175th sitting in the world. And uh and and then we're getting ready for next Tuesday, and that is not a morale boosting performance at all.
We're lucky
So
this isn't
wow.
an actual
Hmm.
actual game tournament, game.
But I suppose it was a strategic reason to choose Nepal because their upcoming matches against one is on Hong Kong, of course, that's coming up next Tuesday. The other one is India. So I suppose regionally, it was a well calculated strategic decision to choose Nepal, but it
To
seemed to
win,
show.
to win.
Yeah, to win.
Strategic reason to win.
Yeah, to get them
They could have
used to
played China,
playing.
what? Yeah, you talk
Yeah,
about geographical, they could have played China, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Or maybe they should have chosen Pakistan.
No, but because we also
Paki-
have India coming up, that's the thing. Oh, Pakistan, lah. Yeah, I
well,
suppose.
this time it's 195th, I think.
I don't know. I don't know. I just. I suppose one thing that came out of that day was it was created a nice memory for the Nepalese who went there.
Of course, of course. I
Such
mean,
a humble
my
place.
hats off to that team. So don't
Hmm.
take anything away from Nepal, because
Hmm.
they are great people, great country, and
Good people as well.
they showed us what hard work, can do, despite the
Hmm.
lack of quality, skill, and even football infrastructure in the country.
Hmm.
Um, and this is what they can come to Singapore and beat us on our own turf.
Hmm.
And I think that says a lot. Just the power of determination, will, and yeah, and if you have that, I heard that Singapore played only in the last 10 minutes, where
Yeah.
they really, the rest is all possession, but possession to where, to what? What is the outcome? So in the end, it's still putting the ball in the back of the net, which we didn't do.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, this reminds me of menu now suddenly. But anyway,
Oh
let's
my
talk about dismal.
goodness!
Talking
That one
about
is
dismal
Oh,
things, right? I go to the comments as I'm looking at the Facebook and the
what is
Instagram
that to menu?
posts. Well, disappointing performances, for
Menu is a
we
great
should
team.
do
Okay,
better.
they got Bruno
Yeah,
Fernandes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So like
Captain
for
him.
example,
Don't forget.
some of the uh, suggestions that actually they have for the Singaporean national team. They were saying that, okay, why don't we divert some of the money to the women's national team that's actually performing
Oh,
quite well, yeah, and they are actually making waves in the football
yeah, yeah.
industry. So I mean, nothing wrong there.
Mm.
Interesting idea. Considering my daughter's also playing football, so I have high hopes for that. That's one. Another suggestion that they had was going towards youth talent, because they were saying that Active SG and stuff are not really very approachable, not very reachable for some of the families. So okay, so youth development is another one,
Hmm.
especially in a very highly competitive educational landscape. That we want to encourage sports, so we must go down to the youths. More funny ones, or let's say interesting ideas, include here. We're better off giving citizenships to the Gurkhas children who are
Hmm.
actually able to play football, and get them to play for us. So that's one of them. Another one is saying that,
Hmm.
yeah,
I
another
think
one is
some
saying
of
that,
this, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
continue.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that some of these, like giving citizenships, yeah, there are other Southeast Asian countries that
Mm,
have been doing so, naturalized citizens and things like that. That's for sure. But then
mm,
again, there's still this, I feel like this underlying problem
mm,
with Singapore football that will not be addressed. Like you're putting a band-aid, on an open
mm.
wound. So we really need to take a look at the entire structure. That's what I feel.
Okay, so on that note, let's go on to your analogy here. Please tell me about the banana leaf problem.
The banana leaf problem. Right, this is not mine. I have to firstly say, I took it from bolasepakco.com. Okay, I think it's a blog or thing like that. And what it says is that there is a deeper rooted problem here, and it cannot be solved by continuously changing your coach, because the main problem is the dish. So they say the coach Ogura is like a plate, a banana leaf. Whether you put they compared the Singapore team with the nasi lemak, and if your nasi lemak is bad, so you change it to a plate, to a banana leaf, or whatever, to a tray or whatever it is. Your main problem is that your nasi lemak is still not good. You know what I mean? Yeah, you may visually change it, but there's a deeper problem to it. So that's what they're saying. Go to the root cause. What is the root cause of the problem?
Mm.
Why is Singapore football, you know, um, back. It's still in the 80s, in the 90s, while others around us have surged forward.
Hey,
Why are we
hey,
still
hey.
left so far behind?
Singapore football in the 80s and 90s was good, you know. I think your analogy there needs adjustment.
No, I said it still remains in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, they are good lah in the 80s and 90s, but what I'm saying is that it's still there. While others have moved forward, they are still there in that sense. They have not advanced as much as the other countries.
Mm.
Mm.
So, and then you still want to ask me why it reminds me of menu? Okay, so speaking of blaming the coach, right? You know, this is what the coach said, that if we play like this, we cannot win against any team. So the 58-year-old Japanese said. So in my 1 year here, this is the worst game we played, even worse than the 7-0 defeat to South Korea, which is actually missing. Apologize for that. Okay. Yeah, there we go. And then it also went to the extent of the midfielder Shah Shahira actually apologizing to the fans for the disappointing match. Said that it's important to do a better job against Hong Kong, and they can promise a better performance and a better result next Tuesday. So, I want to ask, who's to blame then? Like some of the comments that brought up were saying things like, our Singaporean team is not hungry enough. For example, compared to the Nepalese team that actually wants to like feel like they have something to prove, whereas the Singaporean national team, football is almost like a second choice kind of thing for them because that the focus was never there 100%. So how deep does this problem go actually?
Interestingly, I saw some people, actually quite a few, who are actually in support of the coach. They were saying that it's not the coach's fault. There needs to be more. I don't want to go back to the same analogy, but it's a bit like United. It's more of the
See,
management and the
I
higher
told
management.
him.
So it's like I think there needs to be some deep-rooted changes that need to be made, and someone needs to call the shots for that.
Mm.
Currently, leadership-wise, it's still the same, and there has been no change at all. And FAS has been riddled with a lot of controversies in recent times. That someone needs to do a proper inspection and see what actually is the root cause of these issues. May not
Yeah,
be the coach, and I think
yeah.
Ogura is not really the one to be blamed here.
So is
Yeah,
it this guy?
I had another analogy about, a bridge collapse. So when a bridge collapse, you don't take a look at the person who was surfacing the road. You take a look at the engineers who actually built and designed the bridge.
Isn't that the
And
coach?
blaming the coach and the player is like, you're looking at the workers that were surfacing the road to blame the entire bridge collapse. So that's what I'm saying. I think that's what PO is also mentioning.
Mm,
There must be we tried to change the coach, we tried to change the players. Yeah, maybe on that day the coach didn't play the players where they should be. He tried out different system, he tried out,
mm,
but these are all surface issues.
mm, mm,
Singapore football, I think, has not gone forward um, that much. I'm not saying that they have not made any progress.
mm,
They definitely have. I've seen it on the ground. There have been, you know, um, improvements here, on here, there. But whose fault is it? I do not know. But probably more needs to be done than what is being done at the current moment, because
mm,
Mm.
the progress is still very, very slow.
mm.
Okay, we
And who
hope
was
to be
that?
able
Hey,
to
who was
achieve
that?
the
The
vision.
previous. Oh,
we want to achieve the vision and the mission actually, like
Mm,
some of our leaders were talking about trying to make it to the World Cup by the 2030s, right? Do you think it's something
mm.
that's achievable at the moment, considering the
20.
current state that we are in?
Well, I think like we have learned, right? What kind of targets we should set? Smart targets, right?
Mm.
So they must be, realistic. It
Realistic.
must be achievable. So setting World Cup goals at this stage, I think it's folly. Um, that should not be your target at the moment in time. Your target should be something that is within reach. Maybe a Southeast Asian champion or runners up. Consistently. That's where you start with, and then you move on to the next level, which is the Asian Cup, Asian tournament, being able to make it to the second round, or even to the
Mm.
quarterfinals. We are nowhere near there. I mean, why are we even talking about the World Cup 2034? You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
it becomes a joke. I mean, your target is a joke. That's why it becomes, because it's not reachable. Here you are, you bring up good policies saying that smart targets. They teach us that, but then they're
Mm.
not making smart targets.
Mhm. There we go. Like, I mean, to be honest, to be perfectly honest with you, a lot needs to happen, especially all the way from the top all the way down to the bottom when we talk about it. Because I think you will agree with me that in our days growing up, we've seen many talented players that could have made it all the way, but never really went that route because of um, different educational pursuits and different career pursuits. They were never, they never really felt safe or supported to go
Mm.
into this route fully, I believe. And I think that we cannot achieve true greatness in sport unless that's all that we're doing, to be perfectly honest with you. You cannot be a world class athlete and working a full time other job.
Mm,
It does. I don't think it's possible.
mm,
If you look at the work, as in when you say, when you use the term professional, they need to be professional and truly feel like they can actually make a living, a decent living, doing this. And if that were the case, I believe that more parents will actually be more willing to put their kids into all these programs and encourage them to go into sports full time.
Mm.
Mm.
I mean, to say that certain countries are able to do it even with a culture, like for example Japan, for example, you have a culture of, you need higher education, you still have the Asian culture and mentality, but yet they're still able to excel in football and sports. So it can be done. So I think the excuse of, oh, because Singapore, we need, it's education first. I think that is a story for 20 years ago, because there are many examples of countries, Korea, Japan, developed countries that require that manpower, require that education, are still able to succeed. So I think we are still hiding behind this fact that, oh no, we cannot succeed because all of us wants to study first.
Mm.
No, it's not that they want to, but it is the way that I believe, if people feel supported enough, if they feel that they can make a
Mm,
decent living and a good career out of it, then
mm,
they more will consider doing this full time. I mean, I know people who are really, really talented who were scouted by multiple clubs. Today is a doctor
mm,
performing surgery at the hospital. When to be honest, he's one of those natural talents.
mm.
Really,
Mm.
really, really talented. In fact,
Football, eh?
people who know me who will know who I'm talking about.
Right.
And also, yeah, yeah, I remember during those days when he would enter a match and immediately have an impact.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
people would change their tactics simply because he's playing.
mm. A
So
bit like you,
that level of
Fonzie.
talent.
When you come into the game, I see all the defenses all move into, like, playing
Yeah,
10 men behind the ball kind of thing.
they move behind me because they know I'm gonna lose the ball.
Because you're too fast, right? That's
we
why.
we we know our limits. We know our limits here. Yeah, but I mean, I enjoy playing football more than I enjoy watching it. But to be honest with you, I think this is what needs to happen. It needs to
Mm.
be
Maybe
good.
one final question for me. Do you think Singapore has a chance to go back to its glory days or move forward, to become a Japan or to become a Korea? What do you think must be done? Maybe Pio, what do you think? What do you think must be done for this to finally happen?
I think I've already alluded to this earlier. I think it's really about um, making different changes in the leadership and the management. Uh, in some respects, I also think that perhaps it may be a good idea to not make football a national agenda and make it more privatized so that there can be incentive to
Mm,
develop this instead of
mm,
making it part of the national plan, so to speak. Lah. If you
right.
hire a company to manage the national team, I'm not too sure. It might be a radical thing, lah. But yeah,
Mm,
Yeah,
that
Amorim might be free, right?
Amorim,
mm,
sorry, sorry.
Amorim might be free.
Oh no, I think he's slowly getting back already. He may
Oh,
be
it's
busy
very
already.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Hmm.
Let's see who else I got
yeah.
nothing to do.
Even Sean Dyche is now not free already.
So
2 weeks only. 2 weeks and he found a
Oh,
new job.
really? Where? I heard. I didn't know it was a rumor or not.
No, it's true. I think he managed to get himself rehired. Solid, he
Ah,
still got market
okay.
value. Sean Dyche
All right.
is now lands a new job. Where is it?
Tampines Rovers.
No.
Hmm.
No.
Oh, he enters the media world
Goodness.
to
So
share
he's
his
gonna
wealth of
join the
football
what Kate
knowledge.
Abdul and Mecca
Yeah,
Richards and
he will be talk sport co-host on Sunday,
Mm,
joining his friend and actor Johnny Owen
mm.
from
Oh
12 to
dear.
2 p.m. Yeah, if you
Well,
want to.
coming back to Singapore sports, I just think that I think it's time for a full relook and a revamp, getting private companies in, getting money in, getting sponsorships in, making the S League exciting again. Um, and yeah, I think players also like what Fonzie said must be supported. There must be an end game, to
Mm,
what they are doing. They must be able to make a living out of it. And maybe then and only then slowly we can
mm,
progress forward,
mm,
because it brings people together. This is one sport that brings people together.
yeah.
Just take a look at the previous ones, where they started to win one or two games. Immediately the stadium was packed. Immediately, you know, all
mm.
Singapore needed to do was to win one, two game back to back, and the
Mm.
fans are running back to the stadium.
Yeah,
And
you want
and
to hear
that
the
was,
Yeah.
Kalang roar rather than the Kalang groan.
yeah.
Kalang moans.
So, so we do the Kalang wave and things like that. It was just last 2 months, is it, that I went to the stadium, and because of after two wins, and then they all the fans are just waiting. They are just waiting, But unfortunately, we have not seen it yet.
Yeah. You almost
Hopefully soon,
understand
hopefully soon.
why you accept bookings to do concerts, rather than watch
Ah,
the national team play. I don't know.
wow, that's
So yeah,
another one, man. Yeah,
yeah. So
I
you
heard that
almost
was
understand.
organizer's fault.
Mm.
The tournament organizer changed the date.
Hmm.
Well, in any case, I believe that I think they have the potential, just like any other team has potential. We have the potential. If you talk about funding, I think we have funding as well. If you talk about coaching expertise and talent, I do believe honestly that we do have all of this. It's just a matter of going all in. And maybe like Pio said, maybe privatizing might be the solution. I don't know, but basically it needs to be an all in approach. If you really want to do it, it has to go all out for this. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, which is something that I don't know whether or not they really want to lah. Maybe we can wait again whether or not whether any of the leaders come down for the games, and then they show their support again, like what we've seen in previous games. Maybe that can help.
Correct.
Okay. So how
Correct.
All
Kasan,
right.
Steffi and Pio, is it a good therapy session for you already? Release all your tension already?
All good. All
Go
good.
back to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Back to work.
Uh,
So let's wish the Singapore team all the best. Let's wish the coach, the players,
uh,
go all out, go Lions, go for next Tuesday against Hong Kong.
I hope they
Yeah.
win because if they don't win, then next week's podcast going to be extra long because these two will have to release their tension again.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If that,
Okay.
then signing off from us. All the best and enjoy the coming week ahead. Remember to change your team in in time for next week's game week. Take care. Adios. And Tafi, your favorite words.
Please click like, share, subscribe, and watch out for a wildcard video coming up next week. Peace.
Okay. Bye. See you.